this. You have it on the other side. This one here. Familiarize yourself with that. This is nothing but words.
You
that
heard some
describe
buzzing
feelings.
in your ear?
Have
Somebody
no
else did,
time
not
to
just
read
me.
them all, but glance
You hear
them.
some
This
buzzing?
one here, you got that?
love the
Yeah.
Oh,
So
the
this one
AV.
here, a lot of feeling words. Read them through it. Well, not every, but glance them, and then we do the same exercise again and see how many you then recall. So take a few moments, go over it. It has a front page and a back page. These are 400 words of feelings. I'm not saying that you had all of them, but maybe a couple more than those that you wrote down in the first round. All right? Are you good for a second round with that? And you can look it up whenever you want. So let's do the same exercise again, and then we talk about the experience. So another minute for you to write down as many feelings as you recall from the last 24 hours. Now, with the help of this feeling word list. So I stop here. You certainly would find even more if time would go on. How was that? Jody, you wrote it down a lot, right? How was it this time?
A lot of the things kind of have
Yeah.
like if you're happy and you're excited.
Yeah,
Like they kind
it's
of
close, but
right. It's a little bit different.
yeah. How about you, Chris?
I got a couple more. I was just trying to focus on the words. Like you
Yeah,
said, they kind
yeah.
of crossed a little bit, but I was trying to focus on what actually felt.
Uh-huh.
Couple more.
Rita?
It's funny, once you go through the list, you remember what, because when you look at 24 hours, you think about the many things that come up, and when you start doing it, I think pretty much all of them.
Nancy?
Yeah, I have a lot more.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot. I mean, and time, of course, is short, but
I was starting to go through the 24
yeah,
hours.
yeah, and I mean, typically in this exercise, people go up to 15, close to 20. 19 is very high. The point of the exercise is we have much more feelings than what we realize, and where the word list is just one help, and people say we have as much feelings as we have thoughts. I don't know whether this is true. Another survey or research said we only remember 15% of our feelings. So that is another point. So the point here is much more feelings in us than what we remember. Then a quick exercise. If you go through both of your lists, how many of them were positive? How many of them were negative feelings? So positive feelings like happy, excited, and negative like being afraid, being sad, being frustrated, those kind of things. Just a quick percentage. How many were positive? How many were negative? You have a percentage?
Mine were all positive.
All positive. Wow, great. It's good to have you here with us. I think we can learn a lot from you.
I had 6 positive. 6 positive.
Okay. Okay. Don't be afraid. Typically, it is not the percentage. People are tend more to have negative emotions. What about you, Mika?
I don't know exactly, but I would say probably 2.
Okay. And Nancy? Okay. When I do these exercises, typically people come with 70% negative and 30% positive. So Jody, you are an exception. Already here. Now, I want to go a little bit more into the discussion here, and that will be maybe difficult for you to answer. But how do you, if you recall some of the negative emotions you had? Can you share maybe some or at least one of your reactions? How do you react when you have negative emotions? What was that you recall, and what was your reaction in that moment? How did you react on that negative feeling? Lots of energy? And that's a feeling. And what happened then with
Where is your you feel different, you feel agitated, you feel relaxed?
Sometimes.
Yeah,
Not all the
yeah,
time, like,
yeah.
I'm at work and I'll kind of
Exactly. Very good. Anything?
Yelling out loud to myself in traffic, you know?
Exactly. These are very good examples. Jody, I know that you have only positive emotions, but maybe you remember also one negative situation or situation with a negative feeling.
Yeah, so the first time every time I get a negative situation, I'll give a perfect example. I just got hit by an 18-wheeler truck. He tried to drive me up the road, right? So the first thing I was shaking up, right? But then I used my dad, which I programmed myself, I just trained myself to say, what's the positive? I'm alive.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was totally calm.
Yeah.
But until I had taken that step to say, what's positive about this? And now I got a new car. So I'm happy because I got a new car.
And you're 3 steps ahead. Thanks for that story. We will wave that in our further discussion. But the reality is, when, yeah.
But then you have to stop yourself, and that's what I did. I said, what's the positive? I'm alive. I just got hit by an 18-wheeler truck. How many people survived?
This is from the last conference on emotional intelligence. It was in the presentation.
Okay, good. Great. I would like to come back to that. First of all, I want to give you a lesson in neuroscience. So I'm not a neuroscientist. If we can use that in a minute, I'm not a neuroscientist. I have studied coaching, but my major degree was mathematics. So I'm coming really from a different field. But this is how neuroscience works. This is cute, right? Now, I couldn't bring a real size lion to this little exercise, but if you imagine that animal would be 50 times as big, then we would have the real size. So we see a lion coming in, maybe through that door. So, and what happens to us? We have a perception. We see the lion. Then the next thing, and it is a little simplified, but neuroscientists gave me permission to give that story in this way. In reality, it's a little bit more complex, but I am not wrong with it. So we see that line. Our thought is, the next thing is we think it is dangerous. Then we have a feeling. We're angry, we're fearful, and then we act on that and run away.
Feelings call to action.
But that is the fight or flight mechanism. And this fight or flight mechanism is a good thing in a life-threatening situation. Let's imagine really that 50 times as big the lion comes in here. If you then would need to spend and fill out a decision matrix, what to do, it is horrible. You need to react in milliseconds and your body does that for you. So it is a good system. But the same happens to us in all kind of other situations as well. So whether you are in traffic and not necessarily right away traffic jam, you are in traffic, you're stuck in traffic, things happen, and the same pattern runs. Simple thing. You are facilitating a meeting. People come too late. Your observation, my meeting room is empty. Nobody is here. You have an agenda. Your thoughts might be, oh God, I don't get everything covered. I will be late. And you're afraid to run in trouble with your boss because you can't deliver the results that you want. So you have a thought, you have an emotion, and then you act on that. And you cut Nancy off, you rush Kirsten, and then things happen. So that is when we apply this fight or flight mechanism in a real life situation where there is no danger of life. It is just a meeting. People show up late. So these negative emotions take over, and you're now excluded for a second from that question. But do you remember? You're too positive. I need you for later on, right? Yeah.
It's like, for example, something happens in the hospital. Well, we know she has a heart attack. I'm not going to get excited until I know she has a heart attack. And my grandmother thought it was fluid and so but I can't get all wound up with it. And it wasn't a heart attack. So
Yeah.
make them mount it.
These are great tools, but just for the exercise. Do you remember what your thoughts were in these negative situations? So going now back, I mean, I asked you first, you had a negative emotion, how did you react? What was your action? You were afraid of that line, you ran away. But now, what was your thought in your case? Can you remember what your thought was when you had a negative reaction, something you can share with us? Traffic jam or so? Think about what negative emotion, what was going on in your head? What were your thoughts?
I guess I said, I'm not going to get there. I'm volunteering you.
Yeah.
Getting all tense.
Yeah. That is the kind of self-talk that you have. Now, let me combine that with what we just said before. It happens very often that we have these emotions unconsciously, subconsciously. So this happens, and if the statistic is right, and I don't care whether it's exactly right, but this little exercise already showed us, very often it happens to us and we're not consciously aware. So we have this self-talk that talks us into something negative. We have this feeling and then we react to that. So that leads me to a definition of emotional intelligence. You have it here in your folder, if you take it out. Emotional intelligence, and there are plenty out. I love that the most. I think you might have others, but emotional intelligence is your ability to recognize and understand emotions in yourself and others, and your ability to use this awareness to manage yourself and your relationships. So emotional intelligence is about observing yourself, seeing what kind of thoughts are going on in your head. You cannot avoid these emotions. You will have them. I can talk forever about the meetings, people are coming late. If this freaks you out, it will also freak you out later. But if you are not aware, you are on autopilot of your emotions, and you're not controlling the situation. And that is emotional intelligence. Hey, the meeting is for traffic jam, I'm late. If you at least notice, these are my thoughts. This is Nancy talking to Nancy, Sven to Sven, whoever to himself or herself, and now I'm on autopilot of my emotions if I don't take control of that or am aware. So you can only control that you're aware of. What you're not aware of controls you. And 85% of our emotions control us if the statistic is right. So the more we learn about ourselves, see how the talk is going on, the better it is. So now the point is, and you started already, Jody, I give you the last word. Let's go around. Is there any tool that you use, how you control your emotions, share your best practices? And I'm sure you have a couple. Who wants to start? I mean, maybe you start. And Jody already started with that, and I wanted you to have that at this point. I think we got what it is, so we have it all. But what do we do now in these situations? Whether it's a lion, whether it's a meeting, whether it's a traffic jam, whether it's a car accident, how do we deal with ourselves? So, any best practices? What do you have?
I have a couple.
Yeah.
No, I wake up very early and I prepare myself for the best. So whatever is happening during the day is something that I have to learn. It's a learn. And don't get mad. It's okay. Read 3 or 4 times and that has to be worth it. It's okay. If no, don't pay attention to something. That is my strategy. But it's a mindset.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but you work on your thoughts.
All the
Yeah, but great example. And there are many other ways of dealing with that. And what works for you doesn't necessarily work for me or for Jody and Nancy. So we have all different practices. I want you to take that opportunity to give your best practice, and then somebody might say, "Oh, I've never tried that. Maybe that works for me." So, any other ideas?
Sometimes when I catch myself in situations like that today, and I see myself going to react to it negatively, I try to ask myself, is this like a big deal? You know, like you said,
It's really worth
is
it.
it worth it? Exactly. So if I catch myself, you know, then I try to balance that out. But you know, sometimes I don't just like the best, but in different situations, I do try to find out.
Yeah, that's a good one. Is it worth it? Or what you said earlier, I repeated, what is positive about it? Which is, there is always something positive that you can find. And just one of my clients got fired from her job yesterday. And while it was only on text, it's very difficult to find the right words. But the next time I will talk to her, I didn't do that on text, but I will also ask her, so what is positive about it? And there's always something which helps.
I would look at it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
Something is coming.
Yeah. And any other idea, any other tool? Do you have something to share with us? What do you do when you have these negative emotions? Or what are tricks with which you have been successful?
Well, one is really to talk sense with myself.
Yeah.
But the other one is not to criticize, which is working. When a bad thought comes, you know, the first thing I do, why do you think it's going to start hitting myself
Yeah.
up? So,
Yeah.
so the other one is just, okay, accepting you just had this stupid thought. Now, like, it's hard to do this.
But I like that, and that is really, a very advanced version of dealing with that is to change your self-talk, because we're our own worst enemy, and you can trick that system. I mean, and on purpose I brought this lion. It is in us, and it's a good tool for lions. It is great for in dangerous situations when your life is at risk in a traffic situation, and that is maybe more realistic than a lion here, at least in South Florida. But it is there for a purpose. But we apply that in all other situations that are by far not life-threatening. And anything from you, what you would like to add?
I guess I would just echo what they said, but also, you know, just kind of like what somebody said, breathing or stepping away from the situation, especially if you start getting impatient. You know, breathe. It's such a big deal.
Yeah, I I like that too. And breathing is indeed what cools you down. That is the only way how you can influence your body, and basically you tell your nerve system it's not a life. It's a meeting, it's a traffic jam, it's my own self-talk. So you can cool yourself down. That it's really that your body realizes Nancy is not in a life-threatening situation. Anything from our master in positivity to add to that?
Well, I mean, I think I evolved, so I wasn't always this way. But I've found three things that have evolved me into this, right? Where I've learned. So, I don't know, I just try to say, how can I turn this around and make it better? Like when I got hit by the car, I said, okay, now that I'm calm, I'm going to get a new car, I'm safe, I can walk, I can still move, right? How do I turn around? And I always look at Buddhist philosophy. How do I respond to the first question? So, what I do is I look at water and dirt. Buddhist says, when you shake it up, it's all dirty, you can't see clearly. So if you start to respond with water and dirt mixed, you're not going to respond, and you're going to make the situation worse, right? So sometimes I actually step back and let the sand settle and like the water and try to get clarity.
That is her breathing. Yeah.
Difference between an answer or a reaction.
Right. And sometimes it's okay, I realize, to just say, I'm not ready to respond yet. But most people are so quick to respond because they think things are different. So sometimes the response is just be quiet.
And that is a mix between reaction and thought, because what we discussed here is, therefore, think about the line. First we see something, perception, then we think something, then we feel something, then we act. So if you breathe or you don't say anything, you work on the reaction. What you described is you work on you are even a little bit up, you work on your thinking. So you have that feeling, you go one step back and say, what have I thought? And with that, you would say, the feeling can go away, the thought was wrong. I mean, I translate that a little and simplify it a little bit, but therefore I like this model so simple. You see something, you think something, you feel something, you act. So you work yourself up, you go back to the thought, correct the thought, and the feeling is not immediately gone, but it is gone. It can also influence the situation, which many people don't see. I mean, if I'm in a traffic jam every day, then I might need to ask myself, shall I also leave a little bit earlier? Maybe just that would do the trick. So you can also influence the situation in which you are. And one of the things I would like to add, and it is really amazing, I've done it with myself and I have done it with clients, is observe your triggers. What has a negative emotional reaction on you? And there are patterns. And it is, I give you an example. It's typically in my mind, I cannot prove it, but I believe it has always something to do with our values. For me, a high value is reliability. People should rely on me, and I want to be reliable. So what happens with me, I guess, as with all of you, I get a call from my doctor a day before that I have an appointment. And the lady that calls me is Natasha, and Natasha does her job. I told Natasha, you don't need to call me. I have my house in order. You don't need to call me. I'm there. Even if it is 3-4 months ago that we scheduled that appointment. One day Natasha calls me again, and I was really unfriendly to her. I mean, I didn't see Natasha, I saw the lion, right? I mean, I saw the lion. She was the lion for me, and I analyzed days later, I said, why are you so unfriendly? And for me, it was, she did her job, she wanted to remind me, but what I saw is she was questioning my reliability, that I might not come. I didn't follow up on my promise that I would be there. It's deeply in me, and for you it is certainly totally different, but you have your patterns, and it is very helpful when you get angry to think about what is the pattern for you. And of course, once again, you cannot avoid that emotion, but the good thing is next time, I mean, for me now, when Natasha or any other assistant calls me, I say, Sven, I see the number in the phone and I say, Sven, be friendly. She's just giving you a reminder. But I have already this alarm system because I know my trigger. All right. So any situation that you might have where you say, I'm a little bit overwhelmed with my emotions. Any situation where you feel this group can help you. If you have anything, that's a chance. I mean, I'm only.
If you have something totally crazy, like when you're really upset, I would suggest just putting it down, going to the gym, going to whatever makes you happy. Just separate yourself from the situation. And even at work sometimes, I'll just walk out, go to do something, ride the bike for 30 minutes, clear my head, get energy, and then I'm fine.
That's really good.
I have my Zumba. I have Zumba 3 times a week. I have a seasonal neuroplasticity and neuromarketing. I was looking into what's going on in my brain, so I can see it coming. So I have to manage my energy, Zumba, generate endorphins.
But exercise gives you an extra endorphin, and it helps you like be happy and calm down.
Depending on the exercise, you generate
I don't know if that's for everybody, but
Dopamine is usually also in the game, and that has a double effect. You do 2 things. One thing is, of course, we cannot avoid our emotions. They are there. This is like sun and moon. They are there. You cannot avoid them. But also, they last only so long. I mean, even the worst experience, after some time, the negative emotions gone. Unfortunately, the positive as well. I mean, so it comes and it goes. So even if you don't do anything, after a day, your head gets clear. If you do things like Zumba, running, gym, these are things where you actively, not only you go away from the situation, you add to your system dopamine, endorphins, and that. Yeah. No, it's but it is good, and it is also something what often isn't applied in a work situation. If you would be my boss and you would talk down on me and I would love to kill you in that moment, I better say, hey, can we continue that discussion tomorrow? I feel right now emotionally not capable to do that. And take your time out. The worst thing that can happen in that moment is that the boss says, no, you need to stay here. Okay, but then you might need to question whether this is the right boss.
You just like let them talk. You just start thinking about things that make you happy. That's what I do. And you don't even listen to them. And then, okay, we're done. Okay, thank you, sir, very much. You're only one person. You're not God.
I have a friend that he's always talking about politics. And after watching CNN, he's like lying.
Oh my God.
I'm thinking, la 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 la.
Right, like the, what do you call that? Isn't that what's it called when people meditate? That's what they do. They do.
I do meditation every morning, so I
Yeah.
have to learn something.
So now we want to talk also about leadership, and our time is limited. But the point in leadership is being aware of your emotions and apply them intelligently in the workplace. So emotional intelligence doesn't mean you shouldn't show your emotions. That is not what I'm preaching, but you need to do that intelligence. I once was in a situation, actually a client told me, I said, hey Sven, yesterday I freaked out with my management team. I reacted very emotionally. I mean, I think he was yelling at him. And I said to him, and he said, I think it was bad. And I said, well, tell me more about the situation. And the story is that they did a failure the 3rd time, where I said, okay, you were really mad with that. If you want to see that you are really angry, then you can also, I mean, you need to do it appropriately, what is allowed in the workplace, but you can show your emotions if you think this is the right choice. So that is emotional intelligence in leadership.
Show your emotions to a certain level, like the outcome going to be what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta have to right?
Exactly. So you show up the way you want, and I cut it a little short here, but I have an exercise here for us, but I guess it would take us a little bit too long. But think about a good boss, the best boss in your life. How did you feel? You have maybe a little less experience than I or some others here. But think about a pet or somebody else in your life that you like to work with, whatever it is, school or sports team. Your best boss, how did he make you feel? Any think about it. Included? Confident. What was it?
Like I see myself there, and he knows when I'm having a bad day, he just like accepts it and everything's clear. I usually push myself up. I don't know if that's but I just need someone to be able to like know that if I say something, I'm not gonna hold it against me for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, so autonomy, for me, no, you stay longer than you promised, yeah. You have been not very reliable in a very positive way. You stayed longer than you promised, so I like that. Bye-bye. So, let's switch to the dark side. And once again, usually the exercise is a little longer, but I wanted to save a little bit of time for a bit more discussion. The worst boss you ever had, the worst person you ever worked with, could also be a mentor, a teacher, whatever. What was, how did you feel when you worked with him or her?
Just always looking for reasons to stick out.
What was it?
Always looking for a reason to stick out.
Yeah.
Never really gets the truth of the story, and I always tell people the truth of the story is somewhere in between both sides.
Yeah.
The truth is probably in the middle.
But basically you felt the
I felt like
chase.
she didn't even ask me my opinion.
Can I get my phone just to see my email or
Those
no?
kind of people like that.
Or you want to broadcast, you want to continually broadcast? You want to do a new one?
Similar,
Or I guess I can even use this. I can go to my email here.
Why don't you go the email on the computer?
Sorry, I was typing all kinds of things and then I just
To me, it was always an opportunity to learn about the other people, learn about myself. Something.
But
I've had some bad boss in part of
well,
my
and
career.
then it is going back to the emotional discussion after after time you have a chance to reflect on that. But in the immediate, I once almost felt, and I was in my 40s. I was not a little boy anymore. I was in my 40s, and I almost had cried. I almost hated him, and it has an impact. So, yeah.
It's interesting what you say because it was my. I was very pioneer as a woman in my career in technology, telecommunications, and it had a situation that they changed the CIO. They get rid of all the team, and it was part of that team. And 1 year later, I found the person. And I said,
Yeah.
because the people stop. I grow so much because that situation. After many years, you learn how to recognize a DNLP, so I can recognize what is coming.
Yeah. But of course, the benefits of that situation was not the intention of that person. I mean, you basically benefited from the circumstances. Yeah, exactly. And this extreme example of the best boss and the worst boss, I ask people how long is that ago. People talk about their best or worst boss 25, 30 years ago. And they know exactly, they can't tell me what they said or so, but they can exactly say how they felt. And this is the warning for us. I mean, most likely to most of other people we are not the worst and not the best, but the way we show up, we have an impact on others. Everything what we do. And now, connected with what we said at the beginning, we are not aware of most of our feelings. The feelings trigger actions, so we're a little bit on autopilot, and we do maybe simple things. You start a conversation with me, I don't hear it, I start to talk to Jody, you think, what an arrogant idiot, right? I mean,
There's also the question of this is what I'm struggling to see is that, so like older men have come up in different generations, and I mean I've had men call me sweetheart, but I really have like that attention in the world to me. I don't feel it's wrong. So I have a friend who's a CEO who was Justice Santa Claus who gave his employees hugs, and now they're saying so it's like a different lens. Like it's not even. So sometimes you don't even have a pilot on. You emotionally feel I'm doing the nicest thing in the world. I'm a good person. And because someone else has a different lens, they're judging you for something else and you don't know. How do you deal with that? That's the challenge I'm facing.
Day-to-day work.
Yes.
We have that challenge today.
well, I think there are a few things to this. I mean, and that is the next level. The first level is, of course, being aware of how I show up and how that might impact others. This is emotional intelligence. And there is this one thing which goes more into communication. And we give a perfect example. When we do things, we look through the lens of intention. I have a really good intention. I want to help Jody. And I tell Jody, hey, if you want to go to Boca, you need to go this way, that way, that way, that way. And you say, I have been there thousands of times. Why does he tell me what I have to do? And she sees me maybe a little bit too pushy or so controlling, and you see my behavior and you judge me in a different way than I judge. I would say I was super helpful. I mean, I helped this lady, and she now knows how she can go. She certainly saved a lot of time, and you go and say, you can forget this guy. I mean, and what kind of. So that is already the first thing where things can go wrong. And unsolicited advice is just a prime example where things go wrong between intention and behavior. But then you have, of course, also the cultural aspect. And
they talk about touchy-feely. I'm not a touchy-feely. I'm more like a burden victim. Leave my box. Don't come in my box. But I don't really that's their culture. And when they do it, it's not offensive. Although it makes me feel uncomfortable. So there's a lot of things going on between men and women and different groups. And I think sometimes it takes it too far and they're not to attend. And it causes a lot of animosity between people. And I'm trying to figure out how do I manage that? How do I make sure, you know what I'm saying?
And it is there. And I also, I mean, I'm born and raised in Germany, but I'm more a Floridian. I'm a hugger. And I had a team in Singapore. I went there and hugged a lady. Totally wrong. I mean, can't do that. So I think there is no perfect answer. I think on one hand is if you are in a territory that you don't know, don't risk too much. Be really more, a bit conservative. That's the word I was looking for. Conservative. But in teams, I mean, you can. You clearly establish some rules. I mean, you don't need to have a written agreement that we hug each other, but you have a kind of protocol that you run in a team, and also I think help others to make clear how you want to be interactive. So, for instance, I mean, you make that clear here to us. I think you will most likely get no hugs from anybody of us when we leave that conference, and it's perfectly all right because you are happy with it, and we feel it's all right. So I think talking about it, I think is helpful. I think making clear how you want to be interacted with, unless it is anyway cultural. Thank you, that's a great question.
I was thinking of harassment is unwanted on Google. If you really know somebody, it might not be harassment from their culture or from their viewpoint. So unless you tell them comfortable in a nice way, then it's really your responsibility.
Yeah, but it ties into our topic because, I mean, emotional intelligence, in my view, also means you need to be aware of that. You see also, I mean, you read also people, and after my incidents there in Asia, I mean, okay, I know that I shouldn't do that in Asia, I got that, but I also see, okay, I mean, I think here in a conference I would almost know, even though I don't know the people who I would hug or not. So it's also a little bit observing people, seeing how they are, reading them, just going back to our definition. Understand emotions in yourself and others.
And the part about leadership.
Exactly. So one last point before we close, it is emotional intelligence can be measured. There are different tools out there, assessments. I'm certified in one of them. If you want to know more about it, then contact me later. You have my contact details in that folder. So I work with individuals with teams to measure that. The reason why this is important is you see that here. You have that graphic in your binder. Look, this is the emotional intelligence of leaders. The more we go up here, the higher the emotional intelligence is that you can measure with assessment. Look at those that are whatever we measure, but this was in research that was done by an Australian university. And there you see that the leaders that are high up, they have only highly engaged employees. And there are other research out there, tons of research. Those that are emotional intelligent have more engaged workforce, which is important for leaders. So, and from other, that's not so much my topic, but there's other research out, the more engaged the workforce is, the higher the productivity, all kind of business measures. So, think about it. When you work on your emotional intelligence, as a leader, you get higher up here, very likely that you have also highly engaged folks. If you have highly engaged folks, you also have better business results. So this what seems to be a little touchy-feely, and a hug or not hug is part of that, or freaking out because of a traffic jam or not, or seeing a lion just because an assistant called you and wanted to confirm an appointment. All these little incidents have an influence on others. I mean, I certainly didn't make a good impression on that assistant. It's years back. I think I cleared it out, but I was on autopilot of my emotions, so I was certainly more here. The further I go up, the further I am automatically able to engage folks because they react to my behavior. I have an impact on them, and they basically have a positive impact on my business results. So it's touchy-feely, but at the end, it's hardcore business results. That is my message.
Where do you work? Where do you school? Oh. Yeah, I find it really interesting because we were just talking with one lady who had, she was telling her bedroom story. And this was an example. She said how she thought we had this conversation. It was like a bad interaction. She said it was because he was a man. And I said, you know, if he had a bad day. So we judge, one to judgment, right? Like, oh, he's a man, or oh, it's because he's this, or it's because he's a minority, or it's because this. But we don't know. It could be just because that person had a very bad day.
Good point. It is also what constantly happens. I mean, you heard also certainly after 7-8 seconds we build an opinion about it. And as of then, we see everything through that filter. Oh, she is young, she has no clue. Those kind of things must happen to you. And I most likely hear the reverse, right? But whatever happens, we judge people based on an assumption and experience that we have. And it is so human. It's also part of our defense system. It's a dangerous animal. Be careful.
Like communication today, where everything is low. Like what goes what this like demand. Like look, I just have to go to people who really are. I don't really care what they are. Like I don't care. You can put a paper bag in there, they treat them this way, then they're bad, and we treat them really good. Or they're having a date. What we're doing is we're having a funding out from the workforce because all the kids she did it because he did it because he can't or whatever. Like I made my wife put it on his school. Right? How do you know?
That good other point. That is a ripple effect that missing low emotional intelligence has. You had a fight with your boss or your spouse or whatsoever. You go in the next meeting, you are grumpy. You think you have all the right in the world to be grumpy, and you're grumpy with your peers. The peers say, what a silly cow, right?
Or you don't know, they could have found out they got cancer or something.
Yeah.
You go to work and you don't know it.
Yeah.
So I try to have people like try to find out.
On the Sanders side, be careful. It is another part of the emotional intelligence. On the sender, when you send your message, be careful what you do and that you not carry from one to the other. On the receiver
I
side,
hate to do this.
on the receiver
This
side,
is awesome. You
ask maybe some questions and
each
don't
other,
judge
just give your
people
coaches,
on
like
the
everyone
first
give like
instance or by
your
whatever.
coaches.
I mean, But,
These
but
conversations
I had it also, and it is.
are not easy.
I mean, and I
But when
don't
we
come
take
from
the
a very
time-
special background, but
When we take
oh,
the
you're
time
German, you must
and
do
listen,
this or that.
how long did you sit at your coaching table?
I'm North Florida, meanwhile, then I'm German. I mean, don't put me in a
It's like about
box
50
or in a
minutes,
drawer.
right?
I mean, that
Did
is,
you feel like you got to know each other
I
a
do
bit
that too. And
at a much deeper level
back and say, Sven, be careful.
and communicate your stories
You're just making assumptions.
in a way and painting a picture and also seeing a world of possibility
Thank
as
you. Thank
we
you for being with me.
share with each other. And if there's something you saw in another person that might be useful for to them, you know, we don't want to end any of the conversations. We want the conversations today to be a beginning. To be a beginning of new relationships and new possibilities. So
Thank you.
we're going to give you now a 10-minute bio break. At 2:45 on the dot, we're going to start and really look at resources for women in tech in South Florida with a panel led by Sarah. And Avi, thank you so much for all your help. And then at 3:45 on the dot, we're going to go downstairs and it starts at, the keynotes, one's at 4, one's at 4:30. So we can tap in and plug into the greater conference that Winnie has partnered with, IT Expo, and hear those keynotes. If for some reason you do not want to go and hear those keynotes, you want to stay here in the room, or continue a conversation with someone, you're welcome to do that too. It's totally up to you. Okay, James.
Gotta step in here. If you don't have a badge and you're planning to go to the other, not the keynote in here, but the other keynote and see any of the other exhibits, your badges are out on the table, so pick them up before you go.
Thank you. All right, so bio break, back at, starting at 2:45, and at 3:45 we're going downstairs for the 2 keynotes.
You see what I'm saying? Like, think about it.
And then after that, there's a reception from 5 to 7 downstairs, so you will not be coming back to this room. Thank you, everyone.
You can measure
We're not
that.
teaching.
Yeah.
You can measure like you. I remember I have.
All they're saying is what's role.
I'm certified, I think you were John at that time, I'm certified in assessment, and I do that also with teams and leaders. I know that big project just for the team of 35 where we had an individual assessment with everybody, and everybody worked for what was
Right, you see what I'm saying? Everybody's
area of improvement for him or her. It was extremely powerful, and I will talk with the leader of that team whether we should have a second measurement now to see, because that is a nice thing. Sometimes when I give a speech on that, I studied math and was emotional intelligence, so I started to go into emotional intelligence because that is something what you can learn over time.
So you know what my
It's,
first question
really
is?
build it up. And
Why would she go 12 times after the first time?
I was writing on my emotions
If you didn't like it,
for the
would you go
longest
back
time
one more
in my
time?
life.
So is that unwanted, unwelcome?
Realize what I
Or
now
harassment, whether it's sexual or the other friend is unwanted as well?
people have seen me with 25, 30 years.
Is that really harassment? Because me, like, violence is great. I mean, I'm just
Something
saying,
that
I don't care if you want to go back to the party, go to the
No,
party.
you know what?
Same thing,
Because
but it's not
Italy was
harassment.
the only time.
Yeah.
Why didn't we ask that?
We used to move out many times.
We're not even analyzing it. Then you have to stop it. You're going to make you believe like a bunch of lemons that go off the cliff. It's not teaching people to think. And it makes you mad because your observation, from my perspective, is
Technical schools, like just different
I'm not saying
things
that I don't care what
you
answer
should.
you love.
Yeah.
And analyzing it. Say, this makes sense.
There are two things that I still have
So, like,
incorporated in my DNA. I wake up at home and I leave the bed with a bad name.
right?
And
Yeah,
I
this is
go
let me ask
to
you a
bed
question.
with
Do
a
you
sick
ever remember this
feeling.
fucking having one name?
That is good. I mean,
But you get my point, right? So you can't remember where it was. You can't remember
And when I go to
you
sleep,
can't remember the
I
picture.
sleep
You
like
can't remember who dropped you off.
Me too.
You have no
Me too.
This guy goes
but
through a
even
list of
when
all
I
things
wake up
in the
with a
case.
bad
But you can
thought,
remember
I'm
because only
able.
one day,
I mean,
35 years
sometimes you
ago.
have nights where you
Really?
wake up
Does
and you
anybody
have
ask the question?
some
How do you?
bad thought, and I'm able to push that away in
If you're at a
10,
party
15
with
seconds.
your girlfriends, right?
And even if I'm
So
still
this
awake,
is why
I start
like,
to
I'm
think
not sure
about
what happened. I
something
can't judge,
which
but I can
is
if you're at a party with
constructive.
and you're
If
20
I'm
miles from the
awake,
house,
why
does
not
that sound
thinking
hard?
about my next project, about my next speech, about my next customer?
Someone had to pick her up, right? No. So party together.
Maybe it was
Say,
50
I just
years old.
even if it wasn't your best
Every
friend,
day,
spend
in
it.
every way, I am getting
What would you do
better.
after? If I just
Wake up, I said that, switch my speech on.
wow,
But
imagine
it is
that.
all
So you
about
would call the next day, right? Or that night, because we have cell phones at the time, right? Next day, you want to know what she
Realize.
So you think her friend wouldn't have remembered that she had called because she was from a party? Like that's a pretty big significant step. That doesn't happen very often. Yet her friend has no relation to any party. You see? Why aren't they saying
It's amazing.
what would you? What do you think? I mean, I'm
It's a
asking
good
you.
field to
I'm
work
not
in,
telling you what
and
to make. You just said
it's also
I'm called.
interesting, and I think you make the same experience. How many people who don't?
You know, if you remember, you off.
Especially with the client.
So I just think it's good to be
His manager brought him to me because
start asking
he
questions.
was always
In general.
silent in meetings. He didn't say a word. And, well, to make a long story short, he said to me, one day he was so silent, he said, why do you, well, and he said, well, I'm afraid that I make a fool out of myself. I said, why? What would the other people think of me? And I asked him, so what do you think they think of you when you don't say anything? Yes. Now he's talking. But, and I think it is not earth-shattering, this question that I asked him, but he never, and the guy was in his late 40s, so he was almost 50
I mean,
years
I
old.
asked you a question. I didn't even answer.
So he never came to that.
You do. You were your friend left.
No, these are all people that had
I
that
want
kind
you to
of
tell me.
Yeah.
You just said I was home.
And, yeah, but it's
How come no one remembers?
it's a good film. I need to run.
You have an extra folder with your stuff?
Sorry?
You have another folder?
Yeah, sure. Always for you.
Here's the next one.
Here you go.
Thank you very
All
much.
for you.
I enjoyed your presentation, even though I didn't see the details.
Well, and there is my card inside. You got it also before. You know, you have it twice when there's a question or so. You see that? Give me a call, Ari. All right?
You understand what I was saying, how to find the presentation?
Yeah, it was good.
But how would you find it if you wanted to view it on YouTube or Google? What is the keyword that you have to search?
That is the whiz of
Whiz, like wizard, more biz.
Morbus. That was
More
it.
business.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my telephone.
Okay.
Send it.
Yeah.
So what is the first digit of the area?
You know what? I remembered your name and I said I wanted to contact you on LinkedIn. So
That's the point that you don't have to remember. You understand what W is the last letter of it. What is the last digit of the dial pad, telephone?
9.
That's right. So the area code starts with 9.
One big thing.
Okay.
What is I? Rig. What digit is that?
Okay. Oh, now I understand. Oh, yeah.
Tell me what is I.
Oh, God. Well, I need to look it up. I don't know my heart.
So,
Yeah, well, A, B, C, D, F, G, H, that must be
No, I
4,
like
right?
your perspective on it.
Yeah, okay, got it. Bye-bye, Nancy.
Now you can search on Google, which movie, number 1, you click on it, you go inside, click on the video clip, and you see
I will do that later on. I need
if you
to.
have trouble, call me at Which Movie, walk you through it.
All right, thank you so much. Good to see you, man.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
And I respect him, and I respect him. Look, if I want to ask anything, my dad's going to give me the answer that's not that I was bringing up his own bias because we're going to get. He's not going to swing into pop culture. And if I call him, he has a list. It's like he has a list of all the pop about my life or every person and he goes through, okay, what's going on with this, what's going on with this. It's like he has a list every time I call him and he doesn't forget anything that's going on. It's so interesting. Both of our fathers moved to islands, and there's one family that, like, you know, they're
Will the lovely ladies on the next panel make their way to the stage?
it's harder to see.
And I work with her. She does the training for all the security aspects, and then her she does more of like more but yeah, she does more like technical. But I've only been here for like that long.
you're used to working on
No, I'm not.
Yeah, but you used to.
Yes.
Yes, that's what she said. So now you do your journalism.
Yeah.
Tech. So you're covering this event too?
Yes.
Tech and entrepreneurship startups. So you're very plugged in with the
Do you have the business people? Oh my God.
You can have Sarah's. God like Sarah.
I'm the C.
Patricia, you're my COO. And you get equity.
Nobody that I come in. Angela. Angela is two. Wait, two.
Okay, folks. There's so much talking and fun. Let's have some more fun. So we can get started. We have everyone here. Amundo, how are you? What did you get? You grab something to drink, Amundo? Huh? There's happy hour, I heard. 5 to 7, upstairs. Free drinks?
Yes.
Free drinks. Who doesn't like happy hour? Okay.
Picture, picture,
Picture.
picture.
My lovely ladies are here. We'll be doing music, dancing.
Like you are? Oh, okay.
And I mean out there, I want you to bring the music and sing. So we got everybody.
She's talking about.
All right. Okay, folks. I know this conversation, we got everybody here. It's hard to be the last of the day. Where are you going? Patricia.
I'm going to use my phone.
Okay, get your phone. Everybody have their phones?
348.
Get 248. Okay, we're starting, folks. Welcome back. Is my mic on? Yes. What I want to do for this session, it's the last session, is talk about the top tech trends for 2019. We're already at the end of January, right? I was saying Happy New Year to everybody, and it's already 1 month has passed us. So I have an amazing panel here. If I look around, they're all my good friends that have either been with me in other tech conferences or I've met along the way. I'll have them introduce themselves. Some of you may already know them from previous engagements and also from this engagement. And I want to talk about the tech trends, and I want to make this session as typically as panels, everybody talks up here and nobody talks there. So I want it basically to think about it as bringing it together as one group. We'll start it off and then you can continue. I have a number of people here in areas. Coral Gables is really doing some interesting work in data analytics. Chris, you want to introduce yourself? Do we have a mic for him? You want to come up? I don't know. Where's my AV guy? The AV guys always leave me when I need them. Okay, this is what I'm.
Don't worry.
Hello?
Good. So, Chris is an alumni of UM. Not that I'm biased, but yeah, go Yanks, and I'm always impressed when I see someone that graduated that has a job, right? So that's pride for me. That's pride for me that they have a job, and he even has a good job, right? Besides just a job. So one of the things is he's been studying mathematics and statistics. So we've got to think about, the whole STEM area, and he's doing data analytics for Coral Gables. So if you can just give us a real short, brief things of how you're doing analytics, not even just in crime, but even in the pathway. A lot of people here are not into crime, meaning they don't do crime, and they also aren't law enforcement, but they want their houses safe, but they also want to do business, and I'm into that with more business, getting more business. So what are you doing in that area?
Sure, yeah. So I am the crime data analyst with the IT department, so I work a lot with IT, a lot with the police, and since we are a small city and our IT department is relatively small, a lot of the products that we do have to have multiple applications between departments, whether it's police, economic development, and any other department in the city, and it's all focused on citizen outreach. Specifically what I do, I work a lot with what we call our Crime Intelligence Center, which is a room in our Emergency Operations Center that has all of the camera feeds in the city where we can bring them all in, we can analyze them, do video analytics with a software we have called DreamCam that can look at moving objects and aggregate them all together, overlay them so we can get through footage quickly and filter it based off various aspects of the data. I'll give you an example. If you are walking down Miracle Miles, you probably see a lot of our cameras, and any of that footage that we have along there can be pulled into the software. So if a crime happens that you are a witness to, maybe you see a red car going down the street and you're not really sure it happened sometime 1 to 2 p.m., we can pull that footage in and look for a red car specifically, filter it all down and grab that one red car and get the raw footage, find who it was, and then find who did it. Exactly. This has other applications in business, as you mentioned, where we can use this software to analyze where people are walking, where people are stopping. So which businesses are drawing people in, which businesses people are stopping to look in the windows. That together with some of our IoT sensors up and down Miracle Mile and throughout our business district can tell us where people are, when people are coming, what times of day, what days of the week. We know where cars are parking, we know which businesses, and then we can provide this data to the businesses so they know what they're doing to pull people in and what they might be doing to not pull people in.
That's interesting. And then what I was telling him is what he needs to do is, I said, what's happening in AI, machine learning in the city? He goes, well, that's another department. And what I'm urging him to do is, I said, you know mathematics, you know statistics, you should get involved in those areas and be a part of it, that, right? Advice, even when you don't ask for it, you'll get it from me. Is the idea that you'll think about it, that it will start learning. The only thing that people are, on the flip side, afraid of, are you taking face recognition, right? We're all afraid. And then we're going to think about those areas. So that, and he's assuring me, right, that they're just looking at the clothing, I'm not doing facial recognition and so forth. That's what they're telling me. So those are areas that need to be working. And then you also told me we're doing surveillance ourselves and looking at ways to do surveillance with cell phones. And they're thinking about the body cams for the police officers now, and to be able to have a phone attached to that. And I asked them, right, I asked their IT director that's involved in it to invite us to basically give ideas and look at that as well. So using all that technology, and that's my idea here in giving advice to you all, is to spread then, when we see those opportunities, is to be involved rather than this is my only area, right? That they hired him to do just data analytics for this software, for this database. But that's not going to be the future. The future is a lot of the software where he learned modeling maybe in school, the computer will do the modeling. And the people that are using the modeling then will not be as sophisticated as he is with the statistics and the mathematics, so you can contribute to that part. Okay? So thank you.
Thank you.
So, and then, Erica, did you want to, yeah, just keep it short in terms of, you have another
So
PowerPoint.
it seems like a lot of people here are very interested in the blockchain. I feel like in general, when you tell people that, especially in a tech environment, they're like, wow, how can I use this? So I just wanted to give you all a little bit of a background. There we go. So,
and Erica, you want to introduce yourself?
yeah, so hi everybody, I'm Erica Gemma. I am partner in a company called Miami International Bitcoin, which works with the local Miami government and media and events organization, just to kind of bring tech jobs to Miami. We'll set you up with tax breaks, lots of different avenues for that. I also am the founder of a company called TimeLock Tech, which is a software development company, so if you need anything built from apps all the way to blockchains, please let me know. And then this is my social on all platforms if you guys are into that stuff. I don't have a Facebook though, Cambridge Analytica.
Okay.
Whistleblowing that.
And one of the things Erica is my token millennial, right? So what I thought about Erica is that I meet her in a lot of events, and she's just so dynamic, and on her own, you know, created this crypto blockchain Mondays that you know, she knows that she has to get a free bar, right? You get vendors for the free bar, people like that, and she's able to recruit a number of people, and you've just been dynamic. And she has a aeronautical engineering degree, so it's quite impressive. So just if you can just give us just a quick overview of what is blockchain. How many people have heard the word? Okay, how many people would able to articulate what exactly it is? So we got a few.
Okay, cool. So the first thing we're going to talk about, we have to always pay homage to, is Bitcoin. So let's see why this is not working.
So let's do this in 2 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So, Bitcoin, how many of you have heard about Bitcoin?
We all did.
Okay. So it's essentially what it is.
80% down, right?
So it's money. It's money for the internet. The world is increasingly moving online, so we need to have a monetary system that reflects this. Money for the internet has been tried to be created for decades, but Bitcoin is actually the first one that's been successful. One of the things that's important to note is that it solves a problem that our friend Bill Gates here, I don't know what's wrong with this. Okay. He says banking is necessary, banks are not, right? So Bitcoin tries to address this problem. There's been a lot of problems, 2008 financial crisis, fractional reserve lending, quantitative easing, all these issues in the banking system that have caused financial crises. And now that we have this new technology, we're able to kind of circumvent these issues. One thing in America, we kind of don't understand the importance of it, but this is a stack of cash from Venezuela. In 2001, this stack of cash is worth $71,000. Anybody have a guess how much this stack of cash is worth today?
7 cents.
Any guesses? Yell them out. You guys are good. You guys are pretty good. A lot of people guess more, but it is actually worth $21. This is the end of 2018, and it could be less now. So we all heard. Yeah, I mean. The thing is that we see these problems in Latin America, but there is no country that's immune to extreme inflation. We talk about the Turkish lira. So when Trump put sanctions on the Turkish lira, the price of the Turkish lira dropped 27% in one day. The price of Bitcoin in that country went up to its all-time high. So we kind of need an option, right? This is what it provides us. It provides an option. So. The next thing is why Bitcoin. Essentially, Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer, so we don't have to deal with middlemen, we don't have to deal with banks, it's kind of like cash. However, don't let anybody tell you that these little coins are actual Bitcoin, it's all digital. It follows sound monetary principles, there's a limited supply, there's equal opportunity for money creation. Right now, the people that are creating money are all in the Federal Reserve. We have no insight to what they're actually doing, and it's essentially money for the internet. Now, blockchain, right? Blockchain is this topic that everyone is interested in, especially enterprise companies, because it provides a lot of solutions that just kind of streamline their business processes. So some of the benefits is new technology. It is, oh, sorry, back. Okay. So It is new technology. It is essentially what it is. It's a database that works better. Right now, each company has their own database that they're working off of. What the blockchain does is it allows entire industries to get on this same database, and you can control which information you actually share. It's all also encrypted, which makes it a lot more secure. And then what it does is it increases, but the baseline to know is that it increases transparency, it increases security and efficiency while reducing cost. This is what the business proposition is for everyone. It's disrupting a lot of industries. For example, banks, American Express, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Chase. Every single one of them have opened up a blockchain division, right? And supply chain, every single industry you can think of, there's a way that the blockchain can disrupt and improve business practices. So basically that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. She's the woman in charge.
The idea with blockchain, I think there's still an area in which it needs to be improved. There are a lot of cases, but last year among the Fortune 500 in their conference calls, everybody was saying we're doing a blockchain project.
A lot of them didn't know what they were talking about.
But the amount of companies that say they're doing it the following year went down to 85%. So the idea here is their case studies, it still needs to have time for it to develop. But a number of companies are involving. I think at the 4:30 session, there's IBM. IBM has put in a lot of money in terms of getting the blockchain. It really works well when there's a supply chain. We're trying to find its source. It'll need some time to develop. But it's an interesting technology there. So we have Erica, and what I'm going to do is go down the line and each of my panelists to introduce themselves, say what they're involved in, and then I'll address what are the new technologies you see coming and how can you take advantage of it. And then I want to bring our audience together and talk about it as well, and raise your hands and what you have. Either you have questions for us or that you would like to assert some of your ideas. So let's start. Yeah.
Hi, thank you for having me, Sarah. It's always great to be on an all-women panel. I love it. I'm Nancy Dahlberg. I'm a business writer, and I've been covering the tech community, the startup community, entrepreneurship, small business for 6-7 years now, and even before that as an editor. And I've been sort of chronicling what's going on here, and it's an exciting time to be in South Florida.
And Nancy, I don't know how many of you have read Nancy's column. Nancy is like, for me, like the guru of what's happening in South Florida, and I was just so fortunate to have you come again for one of my panels, because I said, what's happening here, Nancy knows about it, so I appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Renee Lopez-Quintera, and I'm the VP of Icon Digital, which is a programmatic digital trading desk, which we work with ad agencies and marketing directors. And I have to thank Sarah for inviting me. I know her as Professor Rushnick. It's funny, I was in her class about 20 years ago, 23 years ago. So full circle, getting my MBA at UM, which is a great plug for the
And I'm going to give a plug for you too. You remember when we heard e-commerce, those of you that are old enough, the first idea of e-commerce? We had a business plan at the University of Miami, and there was this young woman that did gift baskets on e-commerce, right? And it was in the Grove, right? And this is the woman that I really saw from the, it was basketcase.com. You remember all those ideas? And it was such a cute idea, but she implemented it and went forward. So I just
yeah, you have to be gutsy in your 20s when you don't have that much to lose.
but a lot of people are gutsy, but they don't go through the proper path. So I appreciate that.
Hi, my name is Angela Polania, and I own a company, work in cybersecurity, privacy, and compliance. I provide services and work with middle market and larger organizations and all of that interesting stuff. So I'll talk a little bit about that. That's the area I bring here of expertise, and I'm grateful to be here. And she's my neighbor. I see her walking sometimes.
And she walks with her lovely daughter, and then we're looking to the next daughter along the way. And Angela has come to my class to give talks, right, and also to use, and I'll shout this out to anyone. A lot of people have come to my classes for interns, and a lot of times for social media is the first thing that we think about, but other things in tech. And also, I do a health informatics, and we have a number of startups. Patty, you want to just do a shout out? Patty came to, do you want to stand up, Patty? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Patricia Buendia. We just started a blockchain for healthcare company last year, and we are really busy with the business plan. We're starting to pitch, and it's about empowering people to manage their healthcare data, collect all the data from the different doctors in one particular place. Now there are many different use cases, but the one that we're looking at is making it available for medical research, pharmaceuticals to access that data, because it's very valuable and it can help in designing personalized treatments.
Yeah, and Patty came out to the health informatics seminar to give her pitch, and we gave her some feedback along the way too. So thank you, Patty, for attending. And Angela, I really give a shout out too for being an entrepreneur, starting your own firm, right? You used to work with the Big Four, and then she says, hey, I'm going to make it this way, and she's looking for a number of opportunities, and she's really spread herself, gone now out to California with a lot of tech companies there, with a lot of big tech companies, and trying, and sometimes we talk about ways to whiz more biz, right?
Whiz more biz, that's right.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Patricia Monica Ojeda. I've been in information technology for many years. Since 1981, I was the first electronic technician woman in the Argentine Navy. Okay, since then I've been in every area of information technology, and I learned about how to be seen, and I learned about stop being a nerd and own it. Preparing myself to be a leader, be a CIO, I learned NLP, many techniques. And today I become an expert on, I'm a super connector and an expert in neuromarketing and branding. And one of the things that I always talk in the conference about people in technology is how to expose yourself being safe. Because we usually talk behind the phone today, not in front of the phone. And that is I've been helping a lot of organizations on how to show your passions and strategize ideas. Using techniques like project management, neuromarketing, branding. And that is my expertise in technology.
Great.
Real quick, I'm Erica. I help people become their own bank, which is why my name is the Bank of Erica. I encourage people to see the importance why it's good to be your own bank. I also run a software development company that can build enterprise blockchain solutions. We do have a solution in healthcare, so we should probably talk. And then also all the way from web apps to websites to mobile apps.
Great. So it's dynamic. So let me throw it out to you, and then I'll throw out to the audience, and you can take it. Is what do you think are the trends for this past year that will continue, and what is new, and where do you see business opportunities? Anybody want to start with that? Renee?
Well, my approach is always, either in marketing or consumer goods, and also the Internet of Home things. I mean, obviously, we see the Alexa and the Home and the Google. I was just Googling myself, hey, what are some trends for 2019, 2020? And I saw this amazing Samsung video in 2020, how, we've all heard of Magic Leap and things, how the screen is in the home, it's going to be more out and you can touch it and it's going to start learning your behavior. So this is the same in terms of ad tech. It's so much about customization. I mean, we've all shopped on Amazon, right? So now, because of the pixels and the data and the retargeting and just the AI that they're containing on your data, they know what you're most likely to buy. And when, of course, when they make suggestions, this has been going on in e-commerce for years, but now it's so hyper aware of what you've bought before from other companies and what you're searching for. So just in those two areas, ad tech and the Internet of Things for the home, there's a lot of business opportunities, especially around the smart speakers for advertising.
And what do you think for yourself? How is your year gonna be different, and what are you gonna take on?
Well, you know, in the advertising industry, a lot of people, I mean, South Florida has a lot of different advertising companies here, you know, Comcast, iHeartRadio. So everything is kind of becoming synergistic. So I work in digital and you think, oh, you know, maybe YouTube ads or of course Facebook and Google, but there's in programmatic, you can be on almost any network. You know, one of the companies that I'm doing a project for, you know, they need billboards and they need radio, everything's digitized. So this has been happening for years, but now all the platforms and the jobs and the synergies are kind of meshing. So I think the skill sets of people, instead of thinking, you know, old school, well, I work in radio or I work in billboards or I work in only digital media, it's all kind of synergistic. And actually that was one of the things that people say for 2019. A lot of these platforms, people want dashboards. If you're in marketing or a CIO, you don't want to deal with 10 different vendors that do one little sliver. You know, you kind of want the big picture. So you're seeing a lot of this kind of synergy with regard to that. So for our company, that'll be a big thing. And also, you know, e-commerce, as you mentioned, now it's at least up to 18% of the U.S. economy in terms of growth, and it's only growing. So anything in South Florida also with supply chain, shipment, e-commerce, you know, thinking on the ground, there's a lot of changes, and even the aviation companies are saying, I forget the year when it doubles, but passenger and cargo growth is doubling soon. So, you know, these industries are all in an upswing.
So in the areas that I work with, right, in cybersecurity and compliance and privacy, the trends that we're seeing and that are, you know, coming, and again, from like a business perspective for me, it's like, whoa, this is awesome, but it's what's happening is, you know, more companies are migrating stuff to the cloud. And, you know, cloud is a very broad term, but what we're talking about is, you know, taking your workloads from whatever into AWS. You have a healthcare platform, you're not proud, you put it in your own data center, you're in AWS, Google, or Azure, right? And you're using these things, and then now you're trying to be a B2B company, right? You have some sort of B2B, business to business. So your customers, and if you're dealing with large organizations, are asking you for, well, where's your security? Oh, my security's with AWS. I'm like, no, you have your own processes and security. So we see a huge, just every day more and more, I'd say 50% or more of our clients are these tech companies that need to provide assurance to their customers that they have the security. And not only that, AWS and Google and Azure are just every day. I mean, you go in their menu of services. I don't know if you've ever been to these websites. They just have hundreds of offerings. You could do machine learning inside these, right? Like, you're not gonna put up your own servers. You use these technologies to do that. So the workloads, the migrations to the cloud, the regulatory, the security around this, securing your cloud environments, providing assurance to your customers, the regulatory aspect, that's a big thing for us. We see a big shift, as I'm sure some of you know, regulatory compliance from a privacy perspective, it's like picking up in the world, and that is creating more, you know, even in your world, in the advertising world, you just can't go free willy-nilly, let me grab data and do whatever I want. It's like, no, I have to let my customer know, you know, people know what I'm doing, how I'm using this data, how I'm securing the data, where the data's at. So the movement of the data, where's the data at, who owns it, who has the transparency. If Facebook would have done some of the things that they did 10 years ago, they would have been crucified. And I don't know if they would have been in business at this point because of what's happening with regulatory. Because people are tired of Cambridge, you know, are gonna get tired of Cambridge Analyticals and all these other things. But for my business, obviously it creates a lot of opportunities. I tell you, but the biggest thing for us is talent, shortage,
That's
talent,
and
knowledge.
what are you looking for?
Huh?
When you say talent and shortage, what don't you find? What are you looking for?
So no, there is people, right?
Right,
There is people, but some of these people are not in this country, so it's hard to find them. Not only that, the salaries are so astronomical right now, so even somebody mediocre makes really good money in our industry. So finding the best of the best, you really have to be competitive. So when you're the smaller players, some are challenges. But I even think like the way we hire has to be differently. I now deal with 20-year-olds that don't even have college degrees. I don't care. You're a good hacker. That's what I care about. And these are the kids that are
Can you
living
do the job?
Can you do the job?
I don't care of all your degrees
No,
and how you
because-
did on the test.
There's
Right.
a part when you're in customer service and
Right.
client delivery that, yeah, you have to talk to people sometimes, but these people do not. So you put all the people that can. But again, in our industry, that's like the complaint, talent shortage. Also, obviously, you know, again, it's an opportunity if you're on the business side, but the advanced persistent threats and how cybersecurity is becoming, as AI and machine learning improve, guess what? I can use AI and machine learning to hack, and that's what's happening. So think of like robots that are doing hacking, I mean like at speeds that no human can do. So you have to have the tools to defend at that speed as well. So again, the tools, companies love it because they create more stuff, more people buys it. It's an ecosystem that's growing. I don't know where this is going. Maybe the way that I think this may tamper is if people just don't give a F about their data and what happens to their information, and if companies, you know, at some point nobody cares. So if the information value is not there, this is, I think, the only way that's gonna disappear. But with the regulatory landscape that I'm seeing, and also the fact that no, you know, you have expectations of these companies that you do business with, I don't know if this is going anywhere. This is just gonna keep increasing. The hackers are gonna keep doing what they do it better every day, and the shortage, but it's really good times to be in this industry, and there's so much to learn. And obviously big corporations spend a lot of money on this. They should, and they have to, and what they don't, they get in trouble. And, you know, the bureau, GDPR. Oh, GDPR is big in Europe.
Everybody knows, you want to tell everybody what GDPR is?
GDPR is the Greater Data Protection Regulation that became into effect on May 25th, 23rd, 2018. They gave them like 3-4 years to comply, and people are crying at the end. I'm like, well, you guys had a while to do this. But in reality, what Europe said, and let me tell you why Europe did this. In America, we're like not there. Europe dealt with Nazi era. Europe has dealt with colonization. Europe has dealt with like when you know about people that could use this information to like bring communism, bring all these different things. So they're like terrified of like having these companies so much power. So they put these rules to say, no, not so fast. You need to let the customer know where the data is gonna go, where you're gonna send it. You can get it out of Europe. And if you get it out of Europe, you have to have all this other stuff. And now it created all these controls for like the consumer. You could even like, if let's say you wanna get out of a website, you know, in Europe, you could go and say, hey, take my data out, give me evidence that you took everything out of me, and don't ever do anything with my data, and they have to comply, they have to comply very quickly. So, in the United States, we don't have that, and obviously in California, there's huge lobbyism in Silicon Valley for that not to happen. Google and Facebook spend a crap load of money for them to do whatever they keep doing, and I get it, it's businesses and stuff like that, but at some point, there's some responsibility, I think, because they've used this data here in the United States to, as you know, like, supposedly change our votes and things of that nature. So those are some of the problems, ethical problems. I think she has a question.
Right.
I think that with, you know, people getting so frustrated, you know, with all of this hacking into their data, constantly spying on them, following them around. God forbid you know, Google something, then for the next, I don't know how many weeks, you get every ad and creation about it. And people are just gonna get frustrated and revolt.
And do what? Go under the mattress and not be connected?
Well, no. But actually, I am seeing more and more people putting their phones down and saying it's enough already. You know, like people don't have the right to follow me around and to do all of this.
But it's
stuff.
similar.
It's an
We
invasion of
still
my
know where
privacy.
the person with the phone is.
Yeah. I mean, the issue I think in our country here is that, you know, we have federal versus state, and this privacy is handled at the state level. So each state does whatever they want. California now is gonna have the most stringent law coming into effect in less than a year. But it's handled by states, so great, you know, California starts and maybe other states follow, but it's so fragmented. I feel like this needs to be a federal thing at this point.
Right.
And yeah, I think we all care, but until you feel the pain from it, also it's kind of like, oh, this is kind of fun. I mean, I'm rebelling against Facebook. I still haven't removed my account because I'm like, oh, maybe there's a use because I have family in Colombia. But I haven't gone there. I haven't logged in. I don't even know my password anymore. Because I'm like, I don't want to log in on this. Because I go, no, I'm pissed. I'm like, no, Facebook makes money from me, and they're just irresponsible, you know? So again, it's we have power as a consumer, but you have to make choices. We want the convenience too, right? It's convenient. I don't know, it's
And what about that case where Google recorded something and it went all over the internet? So I'm pretty much a fan that he likes anything in my house, right? Because you want some privacy. But I see some people talking about privacy in their homes, not maybe not the phone, but having people following you around and recording and putting it on the internet.
Well, you see, I'm telling you, the Consumer Electronics Show, they were throwing everything out to the wall to see what it was, and everything was smart. You wouldn't believe the cars now. They had a Chinese, German Audi people came up with a new electric car to compete with Tesla. What did they do so smartly? 2 Germans from Audi, and then they had, we'll manufacture it where? Any guesses? China. So the German went to China and developed these huge plants for automation that you couldn't believe, and then they wanted to have it to be beautiful. So where did they go? They went to France, and they got these French designers, and the dashboard, you know, if you think about your dashboard was a huge screen, you know, and then they're showing these people, you know, oh, Alexa this, and everybody is and they're thinking, what are we going to do with the people in the car when the car drives itself? So you have to be occupied, so I'm going to entertain you. So it's entertainment. And then I hear a number of the press talking, and somebody on the side says this, do you think the U.S. is going to let China come into their cars, you know, and sell it? But it's already happening. So it's the idea that when used to be our privacy is gone, but now all of a sudden, why are we all of a sudden finding out? How do you think your Gmail and your Facebook and all of that is free? How they have to, and they're publicly traded and they're making millions of dollars, right?
Yeah, I just want to give a plug to Angela because we're in a Women in Technology group and some of the ladies are here. But being an expert in cybersecurity is important. You mentioned the state level, and you know, the new Attorney General who's coming in actually has a special task force for like cybersecurity and human trafficking and all these lovely things that South Florida is so good at here.
Number one, and Medicare fraud.
But you know, Angela put a position paper together, so it's pretty impressive when, you know, private industry is, of course, kind of sometimes in front of government, and we, you know, that's an issue too that I just wanted to bring up and mention.
Just to touch also on what Angela said in terms of trends in job opportunities, especially one of the things that I like to tell young people and that I believe is true is that the new illiteracy is going to be not being able to know how to code for young people, right? If you can't speak the language of computers, then it's going to be really hard to get jobs in the future. Everything is moving online. So learning how to code is one thing, but also the thing about most developers now, and I'm sure you can attest to this, is that they're kind of like socially awkward, right? So there needs to be that middle ground between somebody, a client that wants the project done, and somebody being able to communicate that effectively to these developers. So they're like project managers, so that's also just like a really big opportunity. Yeah, they're really big opportunities there. So developing and then, you know, translating to developers what needs to be done. And then, you know, this whole cybersecurity thing, the blockchain is really going to change this, because I don't see this move towards digitization of everything and making our lives easier by having our devices listen to us. This trend is going to continue, but it also scares a lot of people. And so the blockchain is kind of coming into this space where they're able to make it so that way you own your own data instead of having a centralized organization own your data and be able to manipulate it.
Yes, no, that's going to be a big change. Even though today I'm working in marketing and neuromarketing, I'm still having my CISO, my certification in information security. But what is happening what is the trend now in marketing? Neuromarketing is something that we have been using forever. But now the neuromarketing is applied to this. The phones. We have today 2 types of users. The user type Tinder. And let me show you. This is a typical Tinder user?
Tinder user. It's between 15 years old and 25 years old.
I don't use Tinder, guys.
Okay.
But you're 26, so you're past that age.
No, the interesting thing is why we say the Tinder user is the way that the person perceives the information. It's no more than 3 seconds of attention span. Okay? So what we use today in neuromarketing, we use many techniques, and many of the techniques is graphic techniques, because in 3 seconds you have to transfer the concept. There are 2 techniques. One of these is the art of fear. It's the art of fear. When the people feel threat, they take action, or they get back. Retreat. So neuromarketing is and it's gonna be more deep in the next 2 years, because there is no many ways to transfer a concept of what we want in 3 seconds. That the person has attention span on this phone. Okay? People from the 30 to 60 years old is the more intellectual. And there is a different way to transfer the information. Pay attention on this, because this is about security as well. Okay? This and this. 10 seconds. And they receive the information on the advertisement or whatever we want to transfer. So whatever you want to do today, you have to have the 2 movements that the people use, because that is going straight to the brain. And neuromarketing is super trendy today, and even though we have been using that forever, because Coca-Cola have been using neuromarketing forever, now the limit of the message is short. Go.
I think oh, go ahead.
Let me just go to Jody right now.
I have a question. You have 3 minutes, you said, in 10
3 seconds. 3 seconds.
I mean, in 10 seconds, right? So when you craft your message, obviously, do you do it based on audience, or do you try to get everything into 3 so anybody can use it?
It's based on audience.
Okay.
It's based on audience.
So what that means in terms of jobs is people, and I see a lot of need for it, but people who are able to work with, Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, trying to make these, like digital marketing, right? So trying to make these ads shorter, quicker, faster, more information. So that's another trend when it comes to jobs.
And there's a lot of apps now. I don't know if anyone went to the Facebook community. Anyone do that, came here? They had it here in Miami, and the whole thing was how they're providing for Instagram all the apps, and they listed about 10 of the best apps that you can create as a entrepreneur to get your ads out there, that you can make it dynamic. That whole idea that not just that static one, and also to make it look like it's viral, that the authenticity is important for the ads, right? To make it authentic there.
In business, we have been changing the whole business plan for the business canvas, which is an interesting concept, because we start from the end. So we can craft the elevator pitch in less time from what you're gonna get, instead of how I'm gonna get it. It's a different concept today, and everything is related with how our brains work.
Nancy, you wanna talk about, maybe for you and your perspective?
She has a question.
Where? Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay, but I'm curious, okay? I understand all of what you say. I'm a marketing professional, and that's what I do. But are people actually getting results from this type of marketing?
Oh, yes.
You know, I'm hearing a lot of no's, and I'm hearing a lot of people just saying, I've had enough. I'm not reading all this stuff. I'm not watching these videos anymore. I don't have the time for this.
You know that Amazon has increased in the sales on 75%, applying techniques of the new neuromarketing.
Right. Well, that's products. I'm thinking about services with all
It's the
these
same,
professionals
the same.
out there.
If you have a good copywriter, how I always suggest to my clients, if you want to have a nice advertisement, just let me where you wanna put it and look for the right copywriter for that.
Yeah. So it's that image, that one type enticing, right? introduce yourself or tell me?
Yeah, I'm Amy.
You want to stand up?
Sure. I'm Amy Serwanowski. I'm the regional director of Witty South Florida, by the way, and I would like to invite people who are in South Florida to join us for meetings this year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I echo cybersecurity, obviously blockchain, all of these emerging technologies are gonna be huge for the world, and also it'd be nice that South Florida become a part of that and really be a leader in that. And also, of course, AI, and here with so much help in a big hospital district that we have, it seems like South Florida has a big opportunity to be a leader in personalized medicine and machine learning and AI in medicine and healthcare. Obviously UM is doing a lot in that, and the other universities too, and I'd like to see that continue.
What about tourism and travel? Would you say Florida would be that would be one of our areas we should focus on?
Well, yes, I totally agree with you. Definitely, I went to a conference not too long ago on the future of work, and robotics. Where is that going to go first? The tourism industry. Think how many people are going to be out of job. Think how many, how much inequality we already have in this community, and how many low-income people that are working in the service industry. What are they going to do? So yeah, there's a lot of work to do there.
And then when you think about it, the targeting, the cruise lines were really large here, and we work with UM, and ourselves work with Carnival and Norwegian, and what are their biggest job opportunities? Are data analytics, to be able to say, they have already defined who buys the cruises, right? It's the female in the household that does it, and she's going usually to look at the menus, right? And so they have to please her, even if her kids aren't going to eat that, right? She has the vision that they will eat that, and what kind of excursion. So it's very targeted, that they know exactly, they know your income already, they know where you live as soon as you go on, and especially with the cruises, if you've taken one cruise, they already have you in, right? They have you trapped already, so they know, you can attest to that, Renee, they already have all your demographics, right? They know exactly who you are to pursue.
Well, there's something, GDPR came up, and something interesting is, these companies that do the retargeting and all of that, supposedly it is like an IP address or a device ID. It's not like a personal, I know it's Sarah at this address, or Angela Renee in this address. So, I don't know if that gives some comfort, but it's not, they don't really, but they can match it offline very easily, for sure. Something that you were mentioning about travel that's interesting, there's a show,